Hey, good morning, everybody. BDL44 coming at you with another video. Fresh out the shower. Still recovering from my cold, but I wanted to, before starting my breakfast, uh, just talk a little Lakers if I can. Really happy that the Lakers gave Quincy Olivari a two-way contract. I don't think there was a better way to do it as far as, I've heard some critiques about them not giving him a full roster spot, but I just don't think that that's something that could literally be possible right now. Not in the short amount of time that we need to figure this out. Uh, our options weren't really on the table. It's one of those situations where it's like if we wanted to do that, we would have to trade some people. And in doing so, because people know what we're trying to do, especially since it has such a small window to get it done, they likely would have asked for way more than what it would have been worth to do the deal, just off the strength of our desperation. So when you understand that, you know that there was no real way to say, okay, I got to hurry up and create a roster spot. Let me move this guy. The person on the other end of that negotiation table is going to say, yeah, I know, you got to make a roster spot happen, huh? Give me two second round picks. Give me a first. For garbage just to create a roster spot. So this was the best way for the Lakers to do this. It seems. Now, moving on from Colin Castleton, I've heard some mixed reviews about that. I, too, have mixed feelings about that. I didn't think he had shown me what it is that I wanted to see from him over the last 2 years. But that didn't mean that I felt really comfortable or confident in our center position, which is why having him, Hayes, Wood, Koloko, all these guys was important. And I'm not sold on any of them. And AD really does need adequate backups. And I felt like Castleton provided us plenty depth at that position. May not have been overly talented or quality, but bodies that we could throw at people. And that's really what Lakers had a lot of problems with. So for me, I wasn't all that comfortable moving on from Castleton because of that. But as it pertains to his performance, what I've seen from him, and what I was hoping to see when I suggested the Lakers pick him up, I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen nothing that would make me say we got to keep him over Quincy Olivari. I didn't. And it's a little disappointing or sad, I guess, or frustrating, because I did tell the Lakers to bring Castleton here. Like, I was one of the people that was online saying, yo, there's this Caucasian guy out there that could pull the ball off the rim and run the floor. I saw him on some highlights that were like on a not so popular channel, to be honest with you. I hadn't heard of him spoken of after the draft or before the draft. I was just watching some dude who had a collage of different players that he had done homework on. And one of them was a guy like Colin Castleton, the guy that can pull the ball off the rim, push the floor, make plays. I'm like, oh, that's a serious, attribute to have with a center. I think that this is somebody we should go get in the undrafted pool. And the Lakers really went and got the guy. And so for me, it was like, yo, this is awesome. Like, this is who I wanted to get. We got him. I'm happy. I'm still happy that the Lakers were able to get that piece. But, once you get here, it's about opportunities and about what you show and about, and I just felt like he had done some standard things. Like, as a center, the numbers that you want a center to have, when Castleton got the minutes, he did it. You get the 9, 10 rebounds, 12, 13 points, 4 or 5 offensive rebounds. I felt he served us a strong center position production when given opportunities. And I feel that if he were relied upon as much as Coach relies upon Jackson Hayes, I think he probably played as well as Jackson Hayes, or maybe even better, to be honest with you. I actually like Castleton a little more than Jackson Hayes right now, if I'm being real with y'all. That's because I'm low on Jackson Hayes more than anything. But, that's what it really comes down to. I just felt like Castleton wasn't really believed in by Coach Redick. And I don't know if it's more so that he doesn't believe in Castleton or that he did believe in his ex-teammate, Jackson Hayes. Is this a little bit of Ham Prince syndrome going on with Hayes and JJ? I hope not. I really hope not, because Jackson is very limited. You can't rely upon him to be your seventh best player or coming off the bench, or that's kind of how he's using him. That's not who he is, to be honest with you. And so, and I've been on record saying I like certain things that Jackson can do when he's playing well. He can really, be explosive, get in the passing lanes, and be disruptive. Like, his defense is improving, I think. But he just doesn't give me enough of a threat outside of the paint. And nothing frustrates me more. And we saw a play, I think it was in the Suns game. I'm not sure which one. But he was having a two-man game situation in the right corner where he was given a pass. He initially got a pass to a guard. The guard was covered. The guard got him the ball back at the three-point line with the shot clock running out. And because he's absolutely no threat to shoot the ball, he got the ball back to the guard, and the guard was still covered. It's like, the guard doesn't really understand that that's not that man's game, or that he's so deficient in that area that he's not even going to attempt the shot. I think that the guard learned that right there. I don't remember who the guard was. I think it might have been Gabe Vincent or somebody. But he learned right then and there, this man ain't going to take the shot. Like, you created a good shooting opportunity for a stretch five. He is definitely not a stretch five. You know what I mean? It may have been the only opportunity created that could have been created in that moment. But even then, it was never an option because he was never going to do that. Now, you need a player to take the shot in that situation, even if you're super deficient, recognizing that the shot clock's running out and that the player that just gave you the ball did not have an opportunity to get a shot off. His defense was crowding him. He created the shot for you. But Jackson's not going to be a threat in those situations. And it frustrates me. I don't like seeing centers near the three-point line catching the ball in catch-and-shoot situations and then looking to turn around and pass the ball off to a curling forward or guard. I literally hate watching that. I hate it. I hate it very much. I think players like that need to be a threat from behind the arc, or they need to not be back there. That's just how I feel. And so Jackson Hayes is a frustrating player to have coming off your bench early. We start talking about who's the first man off the bench. He starts being one of those people. Sometimes we may want to start him next to AD, which is good for AD playing the 4. We really want that. But I just didn't think much of Jackson at all this season. What I've seen hasn't really been impressive outside of kind of crashing the boards a little bit. Like I said, his defense, his chase down block stuff, I didn't see a whole lot of that from last year. From him last year. This year, he's given us a little more on the rim protection, slightly more rim protection. So, he's just a limited guy, man. He's not going to give you a lot. And if Castleton was able to do a little more, he probably would have been valued more. You know what I mean? But because Castleton has some of those same deficiencies and even less athleticism, it's just like, yeah. Now you're trying to ask me to choose you over, a guy like Quincy Olivari, who's not only good on the court, but also has an image off the court that I think is infectious for the Lakers brand and somebody who would be a great ambassador for the team going forward. So it's a no-brainer. I thought the Lakers had one decision to make, and they made the right one. Keep Quincy. Have control over Quincy's rights, because at the end of the day, if you would have let him out, somebody would have picked him up. We know that. And you have a whole fan base full of people that are pleased with the decision. Maybe not the path that got us here. Some people aren't happy with Castleton being gone. A lot of people want other players gone. It's not possible, but they don't know that. That's a big thing. So that's why I try to talk about what I understand on this channel, so that people have informed opinions. Was Castleton the first guy that we would prefer to cut? No. But was he the guy that we were able to cut because we can't cut other people? Yes. That's the reality of it. You can't cut Cam Reddish. You can't cut Jackson Hayes. You can't cut Bronny James. You know what I mean? You don't have the option to do that. That's not something the organization will be able to do. So you have to do what you're able to do. And even if it doesn't make sense to us as it pertains to who's better and who's worse, contracts are signed, man. It is what it is. So the two-way deals have the ability to be moved on from and shifted to different talent, and that's what we were able to do with Quincy Olivari, and I'm very happy about that. I saw a interview with him yesterday on It Is What It Is platform, done by a lady named Stat. I really like that conversation. Just a solid young man. really passionate about his Atlanta Falcons. That's for damn sure. We know he's an Atlanta Falcons fan. ATL for him. Um, I just learned a lot about him. He's from Cincinnati. He calls it Quincinnati. He was a real star down there for Xavier. And this was just a real quality interview that I encourage everybody to check out. It wasn't really that long, maybe about 15 minutes. And then I saw the press conference at the end of the Golden State game where he was talking about Steph Curry and how that was his favorite player and how Steph had signed his jersey, signed some shoes for him or something like that. And he broke down in tears, man. It was just amazing moment for him to meet his favorite player and just have him, be a fan of him. You know what I mean? I thought that was a real telling moment about how much this means to this young man. And I think this means a lot to everybody. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit up here and say, oh, he cares, others don't. And I don't think that. It's just that some people wear their hearts on their sleeves, and it's very relatable and infectious to all of us. And I think Quincy has the ability to make himself relatable in those type of ways, which is great for the Laker brand. You know what I mean? So that's why I thought like getting rid of him was just counterproductive in many ways. And I'm glad they didn't do that. I do believe that we need to make him a real rostered player. I think that should be a goal, so long as he plays well in the G League. You know what I mean? If he looks like he's been looking, that's somebody we need rostered permanently on a real contract. Two-way is not necessarily what we need for ourselves as it pertains to the talent that we're using every day on contract, and then having better G League talent. That's not going to fly. We have too many needs. So I don't know if we could shift that around. You make a couple trades. Now suddenly that's not the dynamic. But as of right now, we have a better player in our G League than some of the guys on the back of our regular rotation. And that's something that needs to be rectified. I think we need to have that as a goal throughout the course of this season. To try to shave off some of the stuff on this bench that we know needs to go. Guys that we know damn well we would rather cut. Get them out of here. And then call Quincy up and try to see if we can get him on a real contract this year so that we'll have him available as one of our better players off the bench. Because the last thing you want is him not being available for the playoffs if he plays well enough and he works his way up the rotation well enough, and then all of a sudden you got him on this two-way deal and you can't even have him available when you need him the most. That could really mess with the team if he climbs up the ladder. Now maybe they suppress him from doing so, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to, if given opportunities, climb, which is something I see coming. He's not a G Leaguer. I'm just going to be honest with you. He could use some G League minutes, as most rookies could, but I look at him as somebody who probably should have been drafted. After watching him play over the last couple of games, he in a perfect world, he should have been drafted. So I think that taking him down the path of being a G League guy just because of where he's slotted doesn't tell the truth about what the dynamic was there. And I think that requires people being honest about some things. You know what I mean? We drafted Bronny James. We know damn well Bronny James probably would not be a 4-year guy out the gate. Drafted 58, he'd be in the G League fighting for an opportunity. So because of that dynamic, there's an undrafted person who probably deserved that spot, and because of it, probably will be treated like he's a G League guy when he's really probably somebody who would make a team. I think Quincy embodies that dynamic in real time for our roster. I think it's just the dynamic. I think that's what we have to look at it as. Like, he doesn't have to go down the path of being treated like he's lower. Just like Bronny shouldn't be necessarily going down the path of being treated like he's more developed. We should send Bronny to the G League. He's on his contract. The contract solidified. I think he played a good game in the last one, better than I thought. Some of the people who I've been watching break down his content have been showing us that game we lost by 58 points was his best game, and that he really did a lot of good things that they've been asking him to do, cutting and putting himself in position to be a threat. So the improvement is in place, and that is something to build upon. If he plays like that every night, maybe he don't need to spend too much time in G League at all. But the reality is, he's going to have to, and maybe he's not expected to play that well every night. So, focus and intent and hustle is all going to be things that we need to address with young Bronny, and I just think he's more likely to need G League minutes than a guy like Quincy at this point, who's 3 years older than him. So that is a real thing, man. I just don't. I have no problem with what the Lakers did there. I just know now the next goal is to try to get some of the stuff off this bench that's no good out of here, man. I really think that. And I know it probably is going to cost us a second-round pick or something to get rid of a Cam Reddish or somebody like that. But at this point, I don't think we're better for having to rely upon some of those guys that we saw in that game against Golden State, man. I don't. I really think we need to start shaving off some stuff and moving up some people. I'm just being honest. When it comes to the 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, I don't know if I feel that way. I'm still trying to convince myself that they're projects that we'll be happy to have going forward, but they're really going to have to start playing better right now. Jalen Hood-Schifino got to start playing better, man. He's going to have to. Max Lewis, I don't know that Max Lewis, because of where he was drafted in the second round last year, has as much pressure on him to play as well as Jalen Hood-Schifino does, because he was drafted 17th last year. So I think you're more likely to wait on or move on from Max Lewis just the same. I think you're more likely to get something for him in the market if you were to try to move him, because he's a good looking wing, strong lower body, can project to stretch the floor and take over offensively when he fully develops, has some defensive tools, makes plays for others. So Max Lewis, even though he's struggling right now, you can see that the building blocks are something that not only our team can believe in, but maybe another team can too. Jalen Hood-Schifino is going to have to play his way out of bust status. He's going to have to play his way out of that. I think the whole league is probably, anyone who's been paying attention to him probably doesn't feel as strongly about him as they did on draft day, and I think that's putting it mildly. I know he's coming back from the back. That only compounds the problem, because people have to wonder if he's going to get that flared up again, if something like that could be a problem going forward. So I just think we're in a real sensitive spot with Jalen Hood-Schifino. As I've said, I don't know that his attitude is where it needs to be as well. Understandable, as a young man, it's not going well. But we need the coaches to really zero in on him and work with him, film study, run drills with him, and continue to instill confidence in him, and hope for the best from that. Because if he keeps on this path, bro, as we've talked about more than once over the last couple of days, this is going to be one of the worst draft picks we ever had if he stays on this path. One of the worst we've ever had, man. So I don't want that for him. I don't want that for us. He's too young to be considered a bust, and he's going to have to play at least to some degree at a higher level to get that off people's minds, man. He's going to have to. I don't know how quickly we're going to get him back out there. I don't know how regularly we're going to see him. No idea. But this can't continue this way, man. He can't keep looking like this, bro. No. So that's a real area of concern, as we say all the time. I'm super thrilled about the other stuff we got going on, though. I'm really encouraged by what I saw from Gabe Vincent. I feel so much better about him than I did before the start of the preseason. So that's one of the biggest takeaways for me. It's just like I went from being on the outs about Gabe Vincent to now feeling pretty confident that he could be one of the guys coming off the bench right away, checking in and playing some good solid point guard and small forward shooting guard, minutes 1 and 2. Very confident that he's going to be a steady piece out there on both sides of the floor, so long as he's healthy. I really have changed my entire tune on Gabe Vincent. He's pretty solid, man. And if he could just stay healthy and keep doing this, we'll be able to ride this out with his contract, not being unhappy about it. So the main thing is health and three-point shooting percentages. And I think he's been good. He's been shooting the three ball pretty well in the preseason. So I feel good about Gabe Vincent. Also, who else, man? Anthony Davis looks amazing. If I'm being honest with you, this could be one of his best years with the Lakers. if he stays on this path, obviously health permitting and everything. But I think him working out so hard over the last couple of summers and then having no drop off this summer, having played in the Olympics, just really put us in a position to have his conditioning be exactly where we would prefer it to be. And if his conditioning was like this when he first got to the Lakers, we would have been even better. But we're in a good space with Anthony Davis. We just got to allow him to play the four more, and that's why I think the Jackson Hayes thing is a real thing. You're probably still gonna see a lot of Jackson just so that could be possible. Hopefully Jackson does good things with those minutes. Hopefully we can get Christian Wood back out there, man, and that will help as well, because he really does look good next to Christian Wood. That's already been established. I think JJ is going to be very pleased if Christian Wood comes back the same player or better off of knee surgery, two of them to be exact. I don't know if you can expect that, but Christian Wood's a naturally talented player. Scoring the ball is not going to be something you have to worry too much about. Rebounding the ball is not something I worry too much about. I think Christian Wood is going to be just fine if his body reacts well to those surgeries, because his talent is there. Defensively, not very good, but again, you put him next to Anthony Davis, so that should offset that. And it does. It looks really good when we had it down there the few times that we did last year. So I'm hoping we can have Christian Wood back very soon. I haven't heard anything in regards to him. Maybe he's, I don't want to even speculate. I'll just say that last I heard, his progression was going well. So hopefully that means we see him very soon, and that'll allow us an opportunity to get away from all these Jackson Hayes minutes, which I really haven't been pleased with, as you guys can clearly see. So, yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if Jackson Hayes has any value in this league to, make a move, try to get him somewhere else. But I would be looking for a way to kind of move on from him and bring us another center that we can put in a position to just do more for us. I would, man. And same thing with Cam Reddish. I don't think Cam Reddish can get you anything. Jackson Hayes might be able to. You could probably make a move for Jackson Hayes. Cam Reddish, I doubt anybody will take his contract, even though it's expiring. Maybe you can get something for it at the deadline, but I just don't see nobody wanting that guy. I really don't, man. So, I think JJ is still intentional on playing him. They're both Duke guys, so that's a big thing. I don't know if JJ and him ever cross paths as it pertains to their Duke career. I doubt it. I don't think so. But he's trying to be the coach that gets the most out of the Duke player. But I'm telling y'all, man, nah, I move him down to the back of the bench at this point. It's just not gonna do it. Defensively, if he's able to play well, maybe offensively, sometimes he has some stuff for us. But I just think with this year, the presence of a guy like Dalton Knecht, it just takes away from the necessary need to go that far down in my bench. Last year with Taurean Prince, I didn't feel as comfortable giving Taurean Prince 30 minutes. I don't have any problem giving Dalton Knecht 30 minutes. You see what I'm saying? I can give Dalton Knecht 35 minutes depending on the situation. So the need to keep diving down into my bench is not as serious. And plus, I think with this being said, I also would shift toward Max Lewis a little more, even though I don't think that he's quote-unquote ready. I'm still more likely to shift down to Max Lewis more to start the process of his development and getting him ready, which makes Cam Reddish less likely to be necessary for me to be honest with you. I'm just going to give Cam those minutes and just let him stink it up until he gets comfortable, because he's only going to get better. That's the reality of Max Lewis. The more you play him, the better he's likely to get. And then, of course, we got more Max Christie, who's also going to eat some of those minutes. Austin Reeves, who's also going to eat some of those minutes. So I don't know if JJ's just intentional on playing Cam Reddish just because of that Duke connection. But personally, I don't have any need to actually pull him up, really, for anything. For really anything. After what I've seen in the preseason, I'm out. I'm out, bro. When I'm out, I'm out. Y'all know how I get down. I'm out until further notice. And so that's just really how it is, man. We're not here to spare feelings. We're here to tell the truth and make our team as good as we can. And like we saw last year, leaning on stuff that's not playing well, putting your worst stuff to the top of the depth chart, just makes you a worse basketball team, man. And I don't have any desire to revisit any of that. And that's what I would say to our coaching staff if they were to watch me. You know, please hear me when I say our fan base has some hangover from some of the things that we've seen from the last couple of coaches. So we may have a shorter fuse for certain things based on that. And that's not something you want to think too much about when you're trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. But it's necessary to know that. Now, we have been struggling with small ball lineups. We have been struggling with our coaches playing players that are worse than other guys while sitting other guys that we really want to see. And there's probably a few other things, too, that's not coming to mind. But those are the things that we really need our coaches to know. That you're looking at a fan base who's already at their wits' end with those type of things. We already tired of that. So if you start doing any of that, you're going to find that we're going to get unhappy quickly as to where some other fan bases who ain't had them problems, they're not going to be thinking like that. But us, these are two things that are like triggers for us, pet peeves. You understand what I'm saying? So just be aware of that is what I would tell our coaching staff. Be aware of the pet peeves of this franchise fan base. We are not happy with certain stuff, and we've been dealing with it repeatedly, ad nauseum. So our patience isn't very strong for stuff like that. So that's what I will say, man. I am ready for this game to start. Salute to Kobe Minutes that passed about 2 minutes ago. Always want to do that. But I'm ready for the Minnesota game on Tuesday. I hope our roster is. I haven't heard anything, to be honest with you, from our team since the last game. People have been breaking down Bronny James and Quincy Olivari. It's a lot of that type of content, but ain't really no updates that I've heard. People are just real quiet, eerily quiet before the start of the season. So it's actually kind of strange, to be honest with you, how quiet people are. But, it is what it is, man. We're getting ready over here. And one thing I want to say is that in-season tournament is going to be creeping up on us quickly. That's what I want people to understand. We were the defending champions of the in-season tournament, for better or for worse, however you feel about raising the banner. We are the defending champions. We're going to have a target on our back. They've implemented a real contender into our division now, with OKC entering the division. So, we it's going to be a harder path trying to win that thing. And, for those who care, I just think that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough winning that. We won it last year, undefeated, unbelievable. It's going to be damn near impossible to repeat that, in my opinion. Damn near impossible. But we are the defending champs. People do have to understand LeBron James and Anthony Davis take that thing extremely seriously, or at least they did last year. And I expect for them to play their best ball in those games, when those games are scheduled. I don't know what the floor is going to look like. Hopefully, our floor looked pretty good, but hopefully they changed most of those floors, because a good 90% of them were not great, in my opinion. I think a lot of people agree with that. So, we'll see how they set the layup for that thing this year, but it's going to creep up on you fast, man. Probably mid-November is when it starts, or something like that. I think, and that's something I just wonder if that's what's best for the league. A lot of teams still haven't even gotten their footing and their plays and all that stuff under control, and now they're playing meaningful basketball. It was fun last year, but I'm telling you, you're going to have to get ready for it quickly. It's going to be, before you know it, you're going to be playing them games. And we also have an early road trip that I think could kind of throw us off too. Eastern Conference road trip where we're going to be in places like Toronto early in the season. So hopefully we get off to a good start. Hopefully we react well to that. Our team has played well on the road in the preseason, and we already had a taste of that in Milwaukee. So, hopefully we do well in that situation. And, getting some guys back like Vanderbilt would definitely help. And not hurt anybody else would also help. Staying healthy to start the season. So it's going to be a long season ahead. We know that. Hopefully it's going to be a better one than we're anticipating. These last 2 years have been a bit of a drag for what Lakers standards are. But we have new coaching, and we have a shiny new toy in Dalton Knecht. And we're just going to run out there, and I think, there's an opportunity for us to be a much better team if we start doing just little things differently. Shaving certain things off of the roster. Rob Pelinka I'm telling you, it's going to make all the difference, bro. Move Quincy up,
move certain guys out. It don't have to be too many big moves, some little small on the margins type stuff. I think will just ultimately push JJ toward using more of his better stuff more often and not feeling obligated to use certain things that shouldn't be here any damn way. Let's be honest. That's what the dynamic is. So I'm excited. I think JJ looks pretty good as a coach so far through 5 preseason games. He looks official. He don't look like he's lost out there. And that's really important to me. Hopefully, his coaching staff is able to assist him in the ways that are necessary. And work with these young players, man. Be more intentional on developing young players, because we really do have some guys that are going to need special attention in order to get a good ball out of them. So that's really my point of view, man. That's what I got to say. I don't believe shaving the team down to 9 deep is the way to go. I don't. Not if you're using the 9 that you were using in that preseason. No, sir. No, sir. So that's something else that needs to be said as well. I don't doubt that we have some stuff on the back of our bench that doesn't look that great, but I also don't doubt that if we shave the team down to 9, that we'll ultimately end up leaning on those guys anyway, as to which they won't be that great because they would not have played, and then it's going to be bad basketball. So you do better using some of the dudes, especially the young guys. You do better throwing them in a little more than maybe you'd be prone to doing a 9-man rotation situation. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. I pushed some content out there, man. I'm getting hungry now. I'm ready to eat. Listen back to this, see if there's anything I forgot. Maybe give y'all some more content before the end of the day. If not, we're just anticipating Tuesday, man. Lakers versus Minnesota Timberwolves. And there was one guy that I didn't mention about the Timberwolves front court in the last video that I thought was extremely important, and that's Luka Garza. Luka Garza looked like he's ready to break out as well. So take him extremely seriously come Tuesday. Because if he's on the floor to any real capacity, he's a problem. And with Carl out, they still have one stretch 5 for certain, and that's him. So be aware of Luka Garza. Be aware of all their players. Juju, all those guys. BDL44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.